let's start. Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to my subject, Strategic Cost Management. For today's or for this evening lecture or topic, we'll be discussing Managerial Accounting an overview or Introduction to Managerial Accounting. First topic is the differences between financial and managerial accounting. So we have stated here 7 differences or key differences of financial accounting and managerial accounting. First is users. Financial accounting is used mostly by external person. When we say external person, those are your investors, creditors, the government, or legislations. Sino pa? Pwede ring other third party. Suppliers. Yan. So, yan yung mga user ng financial accounting. Why? Because if a company, specifically company who are traded or registered with SEC, they are required to prepare financial statement and to publish it publicly. So it will be a public document, and those public documents, which are your financial statements, must be in accordance with the standards. While in managerial accounting, managers who plan for and control an organization are the users of managerial accounting reports. They are used internally. Actually, minsan hindi yung buong or corporate-wide ng isang business entity. Minsan isang department lang, isang group, isang business sector. So, pwedeng ganon. Internally used. Kaya nga minsan, yung report in managerial accounting, they are customized depending on the needs of who need the information. Next, time focused. Financial accounting is focused on historical perspective. What is historical perspective in which merong verifiability. Nangyari na yung transaction. Hindi siya future. Unlike for managerial accounting, we emphasize on future data, future information. Bakit historical perspective ang financial accounting? You cannot record or journalize transaction na hindi pa nangyayari. Tama ba? Kasi hindi pa siya magka-qualify sa standard ng financial accounting. So, dapat nangyari na yung transaction before recording it in the books. While in managerial accounting, you make budgets, you make forecast. So, future yung emphasis. Next is verifiability versus relevance. Sa financial accounting, mas gusto nila verifiable yung information. Dapat nga minsan mas gusto pa nila accurate in accordance with the standards. So, verifiable. Dapat meron ng dokumento. Like for example, mayroong gain or merong sale of PPE. Sale of PPE will not be recorded in the books or it will not be journalized unless there's a deed of sale. Deed of sale na binenta mo na yung PPE or any asset na meron na talagang sale nung asset na yon. Hindi pwedeng, ibebenta ko siya next year. Ibubuk mo na sa ngayon. Hindi. It must be verifiable. Dapat merong documents to support the transaction recorded in the books. While in managerial accounting, the emphasis is on relevance because information here in managerial accounting are used in decision making. Information that are relevant or will affect your decision must be presented during decision making. Kaya nga, dyan sa number 4, precision versus timeliness, si financial accounting mas gusto niya precise. Precise, concrete, complete, and kung pwede nga, accurate eh. While on managerial accounting, dapat timely yung information. Bakit timely? Because you are deciding or you are making decisions. So, dapat timely yung information. Next is about the subject. Financial accounting primary focus is on company-wide reports, meaning consolidated reports. While in managerial accounting, you can report on a segment basis, department basis. Depende kung sino may kailangan ng information. Number 6, rules. Financial accounting follows GAAP, TFRS, IFRS, or basically standards. Sa managerial account, it is not bound by GAAP, IFRS, or any prescribed format. Parang ganito lang yan eh. Sa managerial accounting, ang pinag-uusapan, bibili ba ako ng parts or gagawin ko yung parts? O yun yung ginagawa mong decision making. Bibili ako ng parts or ipoproduce ko yung parts. Meron bang kailangan na standard or accounting standard sa pag-decide ng ganon? Do you need accounting standard to make decision of whether buying a part or making a part? Di ba hindi? So, dito, it is not bound by any standard. And number 7, financial accounting reports are mandatory. Bakit mandatory? Kasi nga sabi ko, di ba, if they are registered sa SEC, they are required to present their financial information at least annually. While in managerial accounting, not mandatory. Ang nakalagay nga dapat dyan, when necessary. Yan. So, ano yung work of management? Tatlo daw. That is the 3 main activities na ginagawa sa managerial accounting. And guys, if you will be having these skills, itong tatlo na to, in the future, kung magiging empleyado ka, at meron ka nitong tatlong skills na to, you have an edge over your competitors. Pag sinabi kong competitors, co-applicants. Marunong ka ng planning skills, marunong ka ng controlling skills, decision-making skills. Ma'am, ano-ano po ba yung ginagawa sa planning phase or planning activity sa managerial accounting? Una, you establish goals. Kasi nga plano. Plano para dun sa business, plano para dun sa department, para dun sa segment. Okay? You establish goals. Next, you specify how goals will be achieved. Ano-ano yung mga dapat natin gawin? Ano-ano yung mga activities na gagawin natin just to achieve the goal? Next is to develop budget. How much are we going to disburse or to expend just to achieve the goals? Or how much ang magiging earnings natin after achieving the goal? So, you develop budget. Pag sinabi nating budget, guys, hindi lang po yan puro expenses. Budget is composed of revenue and expenses. So that is the planning phase. Next is the controlling activities. Managerial accountant knows the controlling activities, must know controlling activities. The control function gather feedback to ensure that plans are being followed. In controlling activity, since you have the goals, you plan the goals, feedback is about actual output. Actual output versus your budget, ano ang nangyari? Feedback in the form of performance report that compare actual results with the budget are essential part of the control function. Kasi bakit? Pag nalaman mo ay sobra yung na-budget natin, alam mo kung saan na yung gagawin mo magkakaroon ka na naman ng panibagong strategy. Magkakaroon ka na naman ng panibagong panibagong controlling activities. Bakit sobra? Bakit kulang? Remember that in standards, di ba sabi niyo tapos na kayo ng standard costing? Sa standard costing, if there are any under or over, kahit positive or negative yung effect sa company, they are always investigated. Isa po yan sa mga multiple choices na natatandaan ko ng board exam. Okay? Sa theory ng math, if there are any variances, positive man yung variance, negative man yung variance, they need to be investigated. Ganon din dito sa controlling activities. You compare actual versus the budget of your budgets. Next activity is the decision making. Decision making involves making selection among competing alternatives. Yan. So matanong ko nga sa inyo, sino dito ang may boyfriend? Sige nga, ano lang, mag-raise lang ng hand. Sino may boyfriend and girlfriends? Or partners? Sige, taas ang kamay. Kung among yung may boyfriend at saka girlfriend. Or partner lang. Dali, taas ang kamay. Ano, single lahat? Ganun kang hindi ka ay-ayan, ayaw ka ng tao? Yes.
Aral po muna.
Aral po muna. Naku, narinig ko na rin yan. Narinig ko na rin yung aral po muna, pero wag ka, nakatatlong X na. Ang galing mag-aral no? Yan. So, kunyari lang, merong nanliligaw sa'yo. Oh, may nanliligaw. Ganda girl, may nanliligaw. May nanliligaw sa'yo. Huwag kang mag-alala, hindi marami. Isa lang. Isa lang yung nanliligaw sa'yo. Tanong, will decision making be applied sa nanliligaw sa'yo? Sige nga. Kailangan mo ba ng decision making pag may nanliligaw sa'yo?
Yes.
Christian?
Yes, ma'am. Kailangan.
Kailangan. Bakit?
Ma'am, baka toxic po kasi yun.
Baka toxic? O, eto ha. Isa lang yung nanliligaw. Okay? Isa lang yung nanliligaw. Ma'am, need pa rin po ng decision making. Baka toxic whatsoever. Pero isa lang ang nanliligaw. Meaning, isa lang yung choice mo. Isa lang yung pwede mong maging choice. Anong sabi sa decision making? Decision making involves making a selection among competing alternatives. O, ulitin ko. Pag isa ang nanliligaw sa'yo, do you need decision making?
Ma'am, kasi po diba kailangan may alternatives. Pero dahil isa lang po, ang hirap na.
Pero, dahil isa lang ang nanliligaw sa'yo, kailangan ba ng decision making?
Yes, ma'am. Kasi po magde-decide ka pa rin naman kahit nag-iisa lang. It's either...
That's really correct. Definitely correct. Why? Kahit iisa ang nanliligaw sa'yo, nandun pa rin yung choices. Ano yung choices? Whether sasagutin mo or hindi. Meaning, you still have alternatives. Kaya, girls, hindi porket isa ang nanliligaw sa'yo, wag mong sasabihin, no choice ako kaya sinagot ko. May choice ka pa rin, girl. Huwag basta-basta grab lang ng grab. May choice. Okay? It's either sasagutin mo or hindi. Meaning, you still need decision making. Ang decision making, guys, it is always applicable to everyone. Araw-araw, lagi mong ginagawa yan. Same with business. In every aspect ng business, ina-apply po ang decision making. In a way na konting kibot sa business. Kailangan ba nito? Kailangan ba ng ganyan? Gagawin ko ba to? Gagawin ko ba yan? Lahat po yun kailangan ng decision making. Why? In a decision making, you need information relevant to your decision making. That information should be relevant and timely. Kasi pag meron kang na-omit, kasi hindi available yung information na makaka-apekto pala sa decision making mo, guys, malaki ang effect niyan sa business. Lalo na ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay pera. Business kasi yan. Ano-ano yung mga typical question pagdating sa decision making? Example, what should we be selling? Who should we be serving? How should we execute? Mga ganyan lang yung example. Pero mas marami pa yan. So, I will be giving examples in different aspect ng business. Kunyari, iba-iba yung courses mo or major ninyo. Kunyari, ang major mo ay marketing major. Ano yung question pagdating or yung mga activities na gagawin mo in planning phase? Example daw is, how much should we budget for TV, print, and internet advertising? How many sales people should we plan to hire to serve a new territory? Sa controlling phase naman, or controlling activities, is the budgeted price cut increasing unit sales as expected? Are we accumulating too much inventory during holiday shopping season? Sa decision making naman, kung marketing major ka, should we sell our services as one bundle or sell them separately? Should we sell directly to customers or use a distributor? So ito lang yung mga example kung marketing major ka. Kung supply chain management major ka naman, sa planning activity, pwedeng ang maging tanong mo, how many units should we plan to produce next period? How much should we budget for next period's utility expense? For controlling activities naman, did we spend more or less than expected for units we actually produce? Are we achieving our goals of reducing the number of defective units produced? In decision making, should we transfer production of a component part to an overseas suppliers? Should we redesign our manufacturing process to lower inventory level? So, iyan yung mga tanong kung supply chain management major. Pag human resource management major ka naman, sa planning activity, how much should we plan to spend for occupational safety training? How much should we plan to spend on employee recruitment advertising? For controlling activities naman, is our employee retention rate exceeding our goals? Are we meeting our goal of completing timely performance appraisal? And for decision making naman, should we hire an on-site medical staff to lower our healthcare costs, or should we hire temporary workers or full-time employees? So nakita nyo, ang management accounting, it applies to all aspect of business. So ganun ka-importante yung strategic cost management sa magiging career mo. Pag na-master mo yung subject na to, in a way na ma-apply mo siya in reality, meaning in actual work, edge mo to. Hindi lang ito basta-basta na strategic cost management. Madali lang yan. Cost accounting lang yan eh. Hindi ganon. Ito ay isang skill na pwedeng mong maging asset. Actually, ngayon, sa accountancy, sa BSA, na curriculum, marami na po yung management units nila. Management accounting units. Bakit? Kasi nag-a-adapt yan sa need ng economy. Economy at the same time ng business. Marami na ngayon na dati hindi mo naman alam merong BPO company, may outsource services, merong financial services, merong portfolio management. So marami nang pwedeng pagpuntahan ang isang management graduate. Hindi lang gusto kong maging manager. Ganon lang ang goal mo. Gusto mo maging manager, specify mo naman. Ano yung gusto mong career? Saan mo gustong mag-excel? Sa HR ba? Marketing? Supply or supply chain management? Um, accounting? So maraming pwede. Production? Marami kang pwedeng puntahan because in every aspect ng business, merong management. At yung tatlo na activities na ginagawa dito sa strategic cost management, it applies to all aspect of business. Okay? Nagkakaintindihan tayo doon? How about for accounting measures? The IMA estimates or Institute of Management Accountant estimates that more than 80% of professional accountants in the US work in a non-public accounting environment. Employers expect accounting majors to have strong financial accounting skills. Ano ito? Yung strong financial accounting skills, yan po si financial accounting, si auditing theory. So, ina-expect na management pag accounting graduate ka, dapat marunong ka nun. But they also expect application of planning, controlling, and decision-making skills that are foundation of managerial accounting. Kaya nga sabi ko, asset mo tong subject na to. So, ang gagawin mo, before matapos itong term na to, master mo na ang strategic cost management. Naintindihan tayo doon?
Apo.
Thank you. So, ito yung website ng IMA. Guys, di ba kayo ay BSMA? Tama? BSMA?
Opo.
Sino sa inyo ang gustong mag-pursue ng BSA? Meron? O kung meron man, good for you. Kung ayaw mo na maging BSA at ayaw mo maging CPA, meron na akong i-introduce sa'yo na certification, international certification, na maa-apply mo yung subject natin. Ito yung Certified Management Accountant. You will be a member of IMA. So, meron tayong Philippines chapter niyan. So, pwede ka maging Certified Management Accountant. A management accountant who has the necessary qualification and who passes a rigorous professional exam earns the right to be known as CMA. Ma'am, ano po ba yung sinasabing rigorous professional exam? Ito po yung composition niya. So, meron tayong dalawang klase ng exam sa CMA exam. So, part 1, Financial Planning, Performance, and Control. It tackles about yung topics ng planning, budgeting, forecasting, performance management, cost management, internal controls, and professional ethics. For the part 2, we have financial decision making. So, financial statement analysis, corporate finance, decision analysis, and risk management, investment decisions, and professional ethics. If you would notice, sa CPA board exam po kasi, ang ethics is kasama ata siya sa auditing theory, pag sa natatandaan ko, or kung ano man. So, hindi po siya separate na topic or subject, yung professional ethics. Pero sa mga international certifications, yung professional ethics po, very important. Kaya every exam, meron pong professional ethics. So, kung gusto mo pang malaman kung paano magiging CMA, so, i-visit mo lang yan www.imanet.org. Yan. So, yan. Pwede kang maging CMA. Kahit hindi ka CPA. Ma'am, mataas po ba sweldo ng CMA? Hindi lang porket pumasa ka ng CMA exam, mataas na agad ng sweldo. Yes, you have the edge. Kasi malaki yung starting salary basta CMA passer ka. Pero guys, hindi ka mariretain sa trabaho mo or hindi ka magugustuhan ng Board of Trustee or the management if you do not know how to apply what you have learned. Yun. So let's talk about managerial accounting beyond the numbers. beyond computations, beyond analysis. The primary purpose of this course is to teach measurement skills because this subject is about formula, application of ano, analyzation of data or information, and decision making using measurement skills. So, ang pinag-uusapan natin quantifiable information that managers use to support planning, controlling, and decision-making activities. Measurement skills help managers answer important questions. Una, what net income should my company report to its stockholders? It measures and reports historical data that complies with applicable rules. Next question, how will my company serve its customer? It will measure and analyze mostly non-financial process-oriented data. Kasi dito sa ano na to, hindi mo yan makikita sa financials mo. Pwedeng galing sa survey or galing sa feasibility studies. Will my company need to borrow money? You analyze estimated future cash flow using yung current status ng company mo. Doon mo masasabi, kailangan ba natin umutang sa bangko? Or we have excess cash na makakapag-finance ng ating operation. Diba? So these are measurement skills. But what is managerial accounting beyond measurement skills, beyond numbers? I will be introducing 6 business management perspectives. Ano-ano yung mga pwede nating i-apply si managerial accounting o saang mga perspective or aspects natin pwedeng apply si managerial accounting. So we have ethics perspective, strategic management perspective, enterprise risk management perspective, CSR perspective, process management perspective, and leadership perspective. So, unahin natin yung ethics perspective. So, si IMA, or Institute of Management Accountants, meron siyang Statement of Ethical Professional Practice na provides guidelines for ethical behavior. So, meron tayong mga ethical behavior na dapat sundin. So, meron akong, using dyan sa naka-present sa bakit kailangan ng competence?
Competence is having the ability to do something or to para po maging successful yung gusto nating gawin. We need to be efficient and capable po in order to do our job successfully po. So, as what is written here, to provide accurate, clear, concise, and timely decision support system po. So, for us to decide accurately or precisely, we need to be competent. We need to be efficient as a person, as a CMA, ganun po.
How will you gain competence? O sige.
I think po, para mag-gain yung competence, need mong mag-practice and para, kasi po
What
pag
do you mean
sinabi,
by mag-practice ang mag-practice? Kunyari, nasa work ka na. How will you do yung sinasabi mong mag-practice na mag-practice?
ano po, yung mga natutunan pong lesson sa subject na need po i-apply sa workplace para po mag-gain yung sinasabing competence po.
So, una, sabi mo practice. I will reword it. Experience.
Ayan, experience.
You need experience to gain competence. Next, syempre hindi lang pwedeng experience. 10 years na ako nagtatrabaho. Hindi porket 10 years na ang isang empleyado, magaling na siya. Pwede bang ganon? Sobrang tagal na niya, pero hindi siya napopromote. Pwedeng ganon?
Possible
Sobrang tagal niya na sa company, pero hindi siya napopromote. Why? Kasi walang competence. Ano kaya yung pwede pang mangyari? What else?
Siguro po hindi lang kailangan mag-base sa experience, kailangan may knowledge ka din. May enough
True.
knowledge, enough
Mhm.
wisdom sa field na pinasukan mo dun sa workplace
Okay.
para
Thank you, Patricia. That is the base. That is the baseline. Ang pinakang unang-una, just to gain competence is the technical know-how. Technical knowledge of the subject. Not the subject, but what skills na pinag-uusapan natin dito. Hindi mo magigain yun kung hindi ka nag-aral. Pag sinabi nating nag-aral, hindi, unless for exceptional cases, walang, kunyari sa government, kunyari gobyerno muna pinag-usapan. Sa government, hindi ka magiging manager, magiging supervisor, magiging director kung wala kang pinag-aralan. So, yun yung unang requirement dun sa quality assurance. Una, education. So, you will be gaining competence if you have the knowledge. So, aside from meron kang previous knowledge, o pwedeng merong continuous learning. Ma'am, paano po yung continuous learning? Kaya nga minsan, nagmamatter, meron ka bang MBA? May continuous education. Meron ka bang mga trainings and seminars relating to the related to the position that you are applying for? So, di ba yun yung mga hinihingi sa'yo? So, that is competence. Next is confidentiality. How is confidentiality applied in managerial accounting?
It helps po to build trust between the employees and employers po para po magkaroon ng competitive yung business and maging maayos yung environment nila.
Okay. To gain trust. For example, in a situation in which you are already the supervisor, empleyado ka pa lang. Empleyado ka pa lang, entry-level employee. And nakita mo, yung boss mo is nagbibigay ng confidential information sa ibang tao. Kunyari, competitors. Nagbibigay ng confidential o nagbibigay ng confidential information sa ibang tao na hindi naman dapat. Ano ang gagawin mo?
Kung i-report po sa nakakataas.
Okay. I-report actually under the IMA Code of Ethics, that is the first thing to do. You will be reporting it to the next higher position. Next higher position na hindi agad diretso ka sa may-ari ng kumpanya. Unless yung next higher position is the owner of the company. Kunyari naman, ma'am, paano po pag kunyari dun sa company po namin, it is the president who is divulging confidential information. The president of the company. O you go to the board of trustee. No? Or ma'am, how about if it affects the legal merong legal impediments dun sa mangyayari kung magsusumbong ako. Ano ang gagawin mo? It's about confidentiality pa rin. You seek legal advice. Okay? Up to the extent na pwede mong sabihin yung information. Kasi remember, ikaw at saka yung legal advisor mo, meron din naman kayong confidentiality agreement. Na kahit sinasabi mo siya sa kanya yung situation, hindi niya yung pwedeng sabihin sa iba. Okay? So that's confidentiality. Do not disclose confidential information unless legally obligated to do so. Do not use confidential information for unethical or illegal advantage. Ensure that subordinates do not disclose confidential information. So thank you, Kyla. Yan. So ito medyo importante yan ngayon sa COVID related. Yung vaccine. Naaalala nyo, ang pinakaunang nakapag-produce ng vaccine, actually nag-produce na available to public, yung talaga talagang nasabing na complete nila yung vaccine is yung Sputnik ata yon, yung Russian vaccine. Pero hindi sila yung unang nag-sell sa market. Si Sputnik. So kung ikaw ay yung nag-create or nag-invent or yung company na nag-invent ng Sputnik at merong isang chocho, what I mean is merong isa sa mga empleyado mo na nagbigay ng formula sa ibang company, ano nang mangyayari sa business nyo? Di ba? Kaya nga merong ganyan eh, merong nagkakasuhan tungkol dyan sa mga confidential information. At ikaw din, ito ha guys, ito isa sa mga advice ko sa inyo. Isa sa mga advices ko sa inyo. Pag naging empleyado na kayo, whatever ang nangyari sa opisina, wag na wag kang magkukwento sa mga kaibigan mo, sa family mo, na hindi naman mapagkakatiwalaan. Kunyari is, sa opisina namin may nagnanakaw. Sa opisina namin si ganito nagnakaw siya or dinadaya niya o pinipeke niya po yung pirma ni Chuchuchu ganyan. Do not divulge it to other person. Why? Kasi nung pumirma ka ng kontrata sa company mo, meron dong confidentiality clause. Kunyari, merong ginagawa yung company na merong yung sa sobrang overwhelm mo. Maganda yung ginagawa ng company pero secret, parang mga secret formula. Eh sobrang overwhelm mo. Alam mo ba? Ikinento mo sa mga kaibigan mo. Alam mo ba na yung company namin, ito yung ginagawa, chu ganyan. Yun, wag na wag mong gagawin yun. Kasi pwedeng bumalik sa'yo yung mga yun. Kasi nga, pumirma ka ng confidentiality clause. Nandun po yun sa kontrata mo. Hindi mo man yun napapansin kasi kasi ganito yan eh. Nag-apply ka. Sabi mo, signing of contract na po ma'am, dalhin niyo na po lahat ng mga requirements niyo. So, dala mo requirements. So overwhelmed ka. Ang una mong tinitingnan, nasan yung page ng sweldo? Magkano yung sweldo ko for the month? Okay? Magkano yung magiging sweldo ko? Yun lang yung binabasa mo. Yun yung unang, ulit-ulit mong tinitingnan at binabasa. Ano-ano yung mga benefits mo. Hindi mo nakikita yung mga other important details sa kontrata niyo. Nakalagay doon, you are not allowed to divulge confidential information. So, isa yun. Next natin is integrity. Yung integrity and credibility, halos magkasama yan, right? In integrity, it mitigates conflict of interest and advise others of potential conflicts. Refrain from conduct that would prejudice carrying out duties ethically and abstain from activities that might discredit the profession. Pag nagtrabaho na kayo, huwag ka masyadong padala. Yan. Marami sino dito ang nag-work at the same time nag-aaral? Nag-work as call center agent. Meron? Meron ba sa atin, Angie?
Wala po. Pero po, fast food worker po. Fast food chain worker po.
Fast food?
Opo.
Okay, sa fast food. O kunyari meron sa inyong mapunta sa mga BPO companies or sabihin natin call center. Guys, ang mga kausap nila, Amerikano. Americans, they are demanding in a way na pwede nilang sigaw-sigawan ang mga customer service. So, sisigawan nila. Ikaw, na nasa call center, na sumusweldo ng hindi naman masyadong kataasan, saktong nakakabuhay ng pamilya, at sumasakay ng taxi pag pumapasok at umuuwi. Kasi nga, call center agent ka, gabi ang pasok mo, so talagang required kang mag-taxi. kesa naman unsafe ka sa mag-commute. So, nagta-taxi ka at pag break time, nag-Starbucks ka, ay akala mo, ikaw na ang pinakamayaman sa buong mundo. Na biglang umangat ng 100 times yung estado mo sa buhay. Guys, huwag ganun ha. Kasi do not be eaten up by the environment. Kasi kung ano ang pinaniniwalaan mo dati, lagi mo yung babalikan. Sino ka dati? Ang integridad, huwag mong babawasan. Kung ano yung sa tingin mong tama, ano sa tingin mo yung paniniwala mo, huwag kang mapadala or huwag kang magpapadala sa kung saan ka nandoon. Lagi mong babalikan kung nasaan ka. Okay? Huwag kang gagawa ng bagay na magpapababa ng integridad mo. At the same time, your credibility. Communicate information fairly and objectively. Disclose delays of deficiencies in information, timeliness, processing, or internal controls. Disclose all relevant information that could influence the user's understanding of reports and recommendation. In credibility, parang ganito lang yan eh. Will you hire a CMA with with estafa case? Or will you hire an employee na may kasong estafa? Any employee? Tapos ang work niya is accounting? Alam mo na yun. Pwedeng mag-isip ka na medyo pangit yung credibility. Will she communicate to us fairly? Will she do her work fairly and objectively? Mapagkakatiwalaan ko ba yung reports na ibibigay niya sa akin na this reports is in accordance of what is needed? So, yan po yung mga ethical behavior na ginagamit or na meron sa IMA Guidelines for Ethical Behavior. IMA Guidelines for Resolution of Ethical Conflict. Kunyari, wala doon sa IMA Code of Conduct or Ethical Code of Conduct. Ano daw ang gagawin? Una, follow employer's established policy. So, kung wala doon sa Ethical Code of Conduct, doon daw sa established or sa employer established policy. If this does not work, kunyari, hindi pwede yun. Consider the following one. Discuss the conflict with immediate supervisor or next highest uninvolved managerial level. If immediate supervisor is the CEO, consider the board of directors or the audit committee. Contact with levels above the immediate supervisor should only be initiated with the supervisor's knowledge, assuming that the supervisor is not involved. Ito yung nangyayari sa mga kaya nga ang ethical code of conduct, ito is just to have a smooth business, smooth economy. Ngayon, isa ka sa mga taong pinakabida-bida. May boss ka, gusto mo pumunta dun sa mas boss. Dun ka nagre-report. Kaya ka nga merong manager Meron kang mas leader, meron kang supervisor. Dun ka muna mag-report. Unless, inalaw ka ng supervisor mo, then dun ka sa immediate supervisor. Dun ka sa susunod. Or dun sa next higher level. Huwag masyadong bida-bida. Kasi merong chain of command. If following employer's established policy for conflict resolution does not work, consider, except where legally prescribed, maintain confidentiality. Clarify issues in a confidential discussion with an objective advisor. Consult an attorney as to legal obligation. Kailangan ng ethical standards. Ethical standards in business are essential. Why? For a smooth functioning economy. Without these standards, the economy and all of us who depend on it for jobs, goods, and services would suffer. Abandoning the standard in business would lead to a lower quality of life with less desirable goods and services of higher prices. Why? Kasi meron tayong kanya-kanyang opinyon. Ito ang sa tingin kong tama. Sa tingin ko hindi ito. Kaya meron tayong ethical standards. Para sa tingin mo, kunyari, okay lang naman niyang pikein, mura lang naman eh. Okay lang naman niyang kunin kasi konti lang naman. Kanya-kanya tayo ng paniniwala. Kaya we need to be bound by ethical standard. Next perspective, second perspective is the strategic management perspective. A strategy is a game plan. Since game plan yan, ano yung kailangan mong planuhin that enables a company to attract customers? Gagawa ka ng mga processes ng strategy or plan na mag-a-attract ng customers. Kahit iba-ibang department, magkakaiba kayo ng function, iisa dapat ang goal nyo. Dapat magkaroon tayo ng kliyente. Dapat we can sell our products. Okay? By distinguishing itself from competitors. So, meron tayong 3 customer value propositions. There are companies na pwede nyo ma-apply. Okay? Na pwede nyo ma-apply na ang pinipili nila is customer intimacy, operational excellence, product leadership. So, iba-iba yung strategy na ginagamit ng mga companies. Saan kaya yung mga companies na to? So, i-explain muna natin isa-isa. Customer intimacy strategy, ano yung gusto nilang mangyari? Understand and respond to individual customer needs. Sabi nga nila, lagi kaming nandyan. Tumawag ka lang, sasagutin namin. After-sale service. Excellent after-sale service ang gusto nila. Or, dapat lagi kaming nandyan para sa mga kliyente. Next, operational excellence strategy. Deliver products and services faster, more conveniently, and at lower prices. Gusto nila, tayo yung pinakamura. Pinakamura, tapos mabilis mabenta. Meron naman ang gusto, product leadership strategy. They offer higher quality products. Maganda ang kalidad kahit mahal. So, next natin is enterprise risk management perspective. So, third perspective tayo. A process used by a company to proactively identify and manage risk. In a business, there are a lot of risks. Kasi tandaan mo, pera yan. Ang pera pwedeng mawala. Sa isang desisyon mo lang na mali, pwedeng mabankrupt ang business mo. So, merong ibig sabihin, merong risk. Ngayon, why do we need to mitigate, to avoid, to reduce risk? Once a company identifies its risk, perhaps the most common risk management tactic is to reduce risk by implementing specific controls. Hindi po mawawala ang mga uncertainties sa business transaction. Kaya merong risk. So ano ang gagawin pag merong risk? To provide controls. Kunyari, risk na nakawin yung pera ng cashier. So, anong gagawin mong control? Dapat pipirmahan lahat ng resibo ng cashier. Dapat they are automated lahat ng resibo. Dapat automated, walang manually na naka-input para hindi sila nakakapangdaya. Mga ganong klaseng control. In every risk, there must be control. So, dito, ang pinag-uusapan naman nating enterprise risk management, buong business ang pinag-uusapan. Hindi lang specific, hindi interest risk, hindi personal risk, hindi interest risk, or personality risk. Okay? Liquidity risk, hindi ganon. Enterprise risk or business risk. So, ano yung mga example ng business risk? Example, intellectual assets stolen from computer files. So, anong pwede mong gawing control? Create firewalls that prohibit computer hackers from corrupting or stealing intellectual property. Another example of business risk, products harming customers. So, anong gagawin? Develop a formal and rigorous new product testing program. Another example, losing market share due to unforeseen actions of competitors. So, anong pwede mong gawin? Develop an approach for legally gathering information about competitors' plan and practices. Next, poor weather conditions shutting down operations. So, anong gagawin mo pag kunyari lagi kang naapektuhan ng bagyo? Develop contingency plan for overcoming weather-related disruptions. How about website malfunctions? Anong pwede mong gagawin? Thoroughly test the website before going live on the internet. Or kaya meron kang makikita na mga naggagawa ng beta testing. Binibeta testing muna before mag-live. Another, financial statement unfairly reporting the value of inventory. So, hindi tama yung pag-report ng inventory. Anong pwede mong gawin? Count the physical inventory on hand to make sure that it agrees with accounting records. Last, an employee accessing unauthorized information. So, since nakakapag-access siya ng mga unauthorized information, ang gagawin mo, create password protecting barriers that prohibits employees from obtaining information not needed to their jobs. So, that is enterprise risk management. Next perspective natin is the CSR or the corporate social responsibility. Do not be misled by CSR. Hindi po ibig sabihin ng CSR tree planting, nagkaroon ng feeding, nagkaroon ng donation, nagkaroon ng ano ba 'yon? Pupunta ka sa isang community, tapos tutulong ka doon, medical mission, hindi lang po yun yung corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility covers all stakeholders. It should consider the needs of all stakeholders. Sino-sino ba yung mga stakeholders natin? These are your customers, employees, suppliers, communities, stockholders, environmental and human rights advocates. So, lahat sila ay stakeholder ng company mo. Those who are interested or connected with your company. Dapat they are considered in your CSR. So, ano yung pwede mong CSR na gawin? First, para sa mga customer, safe, high-quality products that are fairly priced, competent and courteous and rapid delivery of products and services, full disclosure of product-related risks, easy-to-use information systems for shopping and tracking orders. For suppliers naman, fair contract terms and prompt payments. Reasonable time to prepare orders. Hassle-free acceptance of timely and complete deliveries. Cooperative rather than unilateral action. Sa stockholders mo naman, competent management. Easy access to complete and accurate financial information. Full disclosure of enterprise risk. Honest answer to knowledgeable question. To employees naman, dapat daw safe and humane working condition. Non-discriminatory treatment and the right to organize and file grievances. Fair compensation. Opportunities for training, promotion, and personal development. Sa community naman, ano ang pwede nyong gawin? Payment of fair taxes. Eto, sa payment of fair taxes, guys, hindi lang naman po sa gobyerno ang korap. Tandaan nyo po yan. Hindi naman po porket gobyerno korap, hindi lang po sila ang korap. Mas marami po sa private. Bakit? They are not paying the right taxes. Ang dues sa kanila is 20 million. Imagine niyo ba naman ang napapababa nila ng 2 million? Gaano karaming billions of money or peso ang nawawala sa gobyerno dahil lang sa mga sa unfairly, okay, reporting of income. Next, honest information about plans such as plant closing, resources that supports charities, schools, and civic activities, and reasonable access to media sources. For environmental and human rights advocates naman, greenhouse gas emission data, recycling and resource conservation data, child labor transparency, full disclosure of suppliers located in developing countries. So those are CSR activities that a company can make that would affect all its stakeholders. Okay? Next perspective natin is the process management perspective. A business process is a series of steps that are followed in order to carry out some task in a business. Ang business po, hindi po yan nag-iisa. Pagbenta. Ay, hindi po. Nagsisimula yan sa pagbili, sa pag-market, sa pag-hire ng tao, sa pag-manufacture, sa pag-distribute, and the after-sale services. Meaning, whole process of the business. Hindi lang po pwede ang isang management or ang isang may-ari ng company mag-focus in one of its department. Nag-focus ka sa pagbebenta, hindi ka nagfo-focus or hindi mo binigyan ng pansin ang manufacturing. Nagbenta ka nga, mali naman pala ang minamanufacture. Low quality naman pala ang minamanufacture. Hindi pala napag-aralan o walang naging research and development dun sa product. So yun ang sinasabi natin dito. Process management perspective, because each process in a business is important. So they should be managed properly. You should plan yung activities na gagawin nyo in each business activity. Next leadership perspective, next perspective natin is the leadership perspective. Organizational leaders unite the behavior of employee around two common themes: pursuing strategic goals and making optimal decision. So kung ikaw, meron ka ng managing skills, dapat meron ka ding leadership perspective. In a way, ang sabi nga nila, you can be boss. Ano? A boss? Ano? A leader? Hindi. A boss? Ano? A leader can always be a boss. But a boss cannot be always a leader. Magkaiba ang boss sa leader. Kung ikaw magiging manager, magiging supervisor, or any position that you handle people, always be a leader. Develop your people. How will you develop your people? May mga factors that influence behavior. Una, intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic na in a way na dapat napupuri mo siya, nabibigyan mong pahalaga lahat ng mga ginagawa niya or yung mga inputs niya doon sa ginagawa ninyo. Extrinsic incentive. Pag meron siyang nagawang maganda, pwedeng meron kang, dapat tama yung bayad, nagbibigay kayo ng overtime pay, bibigay ka ng promotion, and allowances. So, extrinsic incentive. Yung cognitive bias naman, how will you develop people? Giving them trainings, development, personal development, and also, siguro, guidance. So, yan yung mga pwede mong maging skills. Pag na-master mo ang strategic management or strategic cost management or maging CMA ka, kung gusto mo maging successful na isang management accountant, lahat ng perspective na sinabi natin dito, dapat meron ka. Dapat alam mong gawin. So that ends our introduction or chapter 1 for this subject. Do you have